In this video, let's talk about the new assessment pattern for stream training in Accenture. Earlier, we already discussed about the assessment pattern, but now it has been changed. So in this video, I will explain what has changed and what you can expect. I'm not going to explain everything in depth about stream training because previously I made a detailed video on stream training where I covered the how to choose stream preferences, what streams are available, the complete schedule, the day-wise training plan, and the overall assessment flow. If you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend watching it first because it gives you the complete picture. You can find that video in the iCard. But in this video, I will give you an overall awareness on the new stream assessment pattern so you will know what to expect. We will briefly go through MCQ1, MCQ2, the hands-on assessment, the Capstone Project, and the Viva, so that you have a clear idea of how the complete assessment process looks. Also, in my previous Capstone Project video, in addition to some information, I also covered around 5 to 6 streams just to give you an overall idea of what you can expect. But after that video, I received a lot of comments. You can see some of the comments on the screen saying, "Bro, can you explain this stream? Can you make a video on my stream?" The reason I could not make a separate videos for every stream is simple. There are literally 40 plus streams, and as one person, it's extremely difficult to collect accurate information for every single one. So, I don't want to make videos based on assumptions or incomplete information because if I share something incorrect, it could mislead you. My priority is to share authentic information, not just upload videos for the sake of uploading them. If you are trying to find information about your one stream, it is much easier. But if I have to research 40 plus different streams, verify the information, and make sure everything is accurate, it becomes a completely different challenge. So do research about your stream training on your own. Now, before getting into core concept of today's video,
Hey, welcome to Point Blank, where you get straight to the point content. So let's not waste time, let's get started.
now let's talk about the first stage, which is MCQ assessments. There are two MCQ exams, MCQ1 and MCQ2. Both of them are human proctored exams, and each exam usually has a duration of 90 minutes, that is 1.5 hours. Now, coming to the syllabus, there is one important difference between the two exams. MCQ1 covers only the first half of the syllabus, whereas MCQ2 covers entire syllabus. So, by the time you appear for the MCQ2, you should be prepared with everything that has been taught during your stream training. Now, coming to the passing criteria, this is where many people get confused. The required score is 60%, but the 60% is not for individual exam. Instead, the cumulative average of MCQ1 and MCQ2 should be 60% or above. Let me explain with a simple example. Suppose you score 50% in MCQ1, then if you score 70% in MCQ2, your cumulative average becomes 60%. So you will qualify the MCQ stage. Similarly, if you score 80% in MCQ1, you don't necessarily need another 80% in MCQ2. Even if you score 40% in MCQ2, your cumulative average will be 60%, which means you will clear the MCQ assessments. Now coming to the number of questions. MCQ1 and MCQ2 have 50 questions each. Out of it, 10% questions are from delivery training and rest 90% questions are from stream. So revise all the concepts properly. I don't know whether this delivery training 10% questions will be for every batch, for every year. I don't know. But for this batch, they released the schedule. In that schedule, it is mentioned that 10% questions are from delivery training. So it may vary from batch to batch. So you can have a look on your schedule. The important thing you need to remember is the passing criteria. So don't panic if one of your MCQ exams does not go as expected. What really matters is that your combined average across both MCQ exams is at least 60%. Now let's move on to the next stage, which is hands-on assessment. In this round, you will be given a standalone small project, and the same project is usually assigned to everyone in your team. This is a human proctored assessment and is generally conducted on the metal platform, and the duration would be 3 hours. At the beginning, you will receive a problem statement on the metal platform. It clearly explains what the project is about, which technologies are being used, and what tasks you need to complete. So before you start, take some time to read the problem statement carefully. Once you understand the requirements, the next step depends on your stream. So the exact task varies from stream to stream, but the overall objective remains the same. You need to understand the given problem statement, complete the assigned task, and finish everything within the 3-hour time limit. You will be working on a virtual machine during the assessment. Once the assessment starts, you will receive an email containing the required project files, datasets, or zip folder, depending upon your assigned stream. First, download those files to your local desktop, then transfer them to your virtual machine. Inside the virtual machine, extract the zip folder and start working on your project. Whether you are building an application, processing a dataset, or completing any other task, everything should be done inside that virtual machine. Once you have completed your work, compress the final project folder into a zip file. If your instructor asks for screenshots or a PDF document, prepare them as prepare those as well. Then transfer the completed files from the virtual machine back to the local desktop. Finally, upload the required zip file or PDF or any other document to the Metal platform before the submission deadline. So the complete workflow is very simple. Receive the project files, transfer them to VM, complete your work, zip the completed project, transfer it back to your local desktop, upload it on Metal. That is how the submission process usually works. And yes, I also received a comment asking me to make a dedicated video on how to transfer files between the virtual machine and your local desktop. I really wanted to make that video, but unfortunately my VM credentials have already expired, so I no longer have access to that environment. Because of that, I can't record the actual file transfer process and show it to you. But don't worry, you will get to experience it yourself during the hands-on assessment mock. That's exactly why I keep saying don't skip the mock exam. The hands-on mock is very important because it gives you a feel for how the actual hands-on assessment works. You will understand how to access virtual machine, how the environment looks, how the submission process works, and how to transfer the required files. If you skip the mock, there is a good chance you will be confused during your main hands-on assessment. Not because the coding is difficult, but because the entire environment will be new to you. So don't treat the mock as optional, attend it seriously because it prepares you for the actual assessment. Now coming to the passing criteria, you need to score 60%. If your stream also includes a Viva immediately after the hands-on assessment, then the combined average of hands-on assessment and the Viva should be 60% or above. Now let's move to the last stage, which is Capstone Project. So what is Capstone Project? It is like a case study. See, think about your finally a major project in engineering. There you built a project from scratch, right? The Capstone Project is very similar to that. In simple words, you will be given a problem statement, and based on your assigned stream, you are expected to design and develop the complete solution by yourself. They won't provide you with any starter code. The good thing about the Capstone project is that it is non-proctored. That means you can work on it at your own pace during the given timeline. Usually, you will get around 5 working days to complete the project. So use the time wisely, apply your knowledge, use problem solving skills, take guidance from your instructor if needed, use ChatGPT or any other tool you are comfortable with, and complete the project. Since it is non-proctored assessment, you are free to take help from the available resources. The goal is not to test whether you can memorize everything. It is to see whether you can understand the problem, learn what is required, and build a working solution. And yes, I got a comment asking whether the Capstone project is a group project or an individual project. The answer is it is an standalone project, means individual project. Every candidate has to complete and submit their own project. Since it is non-proctored assessment, you can always discuss the problem with your friends, take guidance from others, or use tools like ChatGPT if you get stuck. There is no issue with learning or getting help. But remember, the submission should be your own work because it is an individual project, not a team project. Okay, let's get back to the video. Once you understand the requirements of Capstone project problem statement, the next step depends on your stream. If you are from development stream, you will need to understand how the project is structured and then implement the missing business logic or complete the to-dos that have been intentionally left incomplete. If you are from cloud data engineering like GCP stream, your task may involve creating cloud storage bucket, uploading datasets, and working with GCP services such as BigQuery, Dataflow, cloud storage, compute engine, or GCP APIs. If you are from Databricks or Snowflake streams, you may be required to work on their respective platforms, processing data, create visualizations, or using features such as Cortex, depending on the project requirements. Similarly, if you are from Hadoop and Spark Stream, your task may involve working with Hadoop distributed file system, Hive SQL, Spark SQL, or consuming messages using Kafka. So the exact task varies from stream to stream, but the overall objective remains the same. You need to understand the given problem statement, complete the entire project by yourself. When the assessment begins, you will receive the assessment link. Using that link, you can access the exam. The submission deadline will be clearly mentioned in the email itself, so make sure you follow it carefully. If you miss the submission deadline, late submission may not be considered, and that can affect your evaluation. And from what the other candidates shared with me, the Capstone project carried around 40% weightage, and the remaining 60% was based on the Viva. I'm not sure about the same pattern will be followed for every match, so don't take these percentages as fixed. The cumulative average between the Capstone and the Viva should be 60% or above. If there is a Viva, don't panic. They will mainly ask questions based on the project you built and from your stream. For example, why did you choose this approach? Which tools and technologies did you use? Why did you use those versions? How does your application work? Along with questions related to your assigned stream. So don't just finish the project for the sake of submission. Understand every part of what you have built, because if there is a Viva, that is where your understanding will matter the most. Now, one more important topic that many people ask about, re-attempts. What happens if you fail at any stage, whether it is the MCQ assessments, the hands-on assessment, or the capstone project? Do you get another chance? As per the information shared by Accenture, you can get a maximum of 3 attempts for each stage. That means one main attempt, which everyone gets, and if you don't qualify, you will have two re-attempts, RT1 and RT2. For example, in the MCQ stage, if your combined average of MCQ1 and MCQ2 is below 60%, you will have another opportunity to attend the MCQ assessments. If you still don't qualify, you will get one final re-attempt. The same applies to the hands-on assessment and the capstone project. If you don't clear them in your main attempt, you will have up to two re-attempts, as mentioned in the official communication. But here is something I want you to remember. Don't prepare with the mindset that you have re-attempts. Instead, prepare as if you have only one chance. The reason is simple. If you are not onboarded yet, failing any assessment can delay your onboarding. Candidates who clear all the required assessments in their first attempt are generally processed earlier. If you have to take a re-attempt, you will have to wait for the next assessment schedule, and that may not happen immediately. It could be after a week, 10 days, or even later, depending upon the Accenture schedule. Since your onboarding is linked to the successful completion of these assessments, any delay in clearing assessments can also delay your joining. Of course, if you've already been onboarded, this is not something you need to worry about. But if you are still waiting for the onboarding, my suggestion is to aim to clear every assessment in your first attempt itself. So yes, it is good to know that re-attempts are available, but when you are preparing, just forget that they exist and focus on clearing everything in very first attempt. And a quick thing before you move on, this is exactly how the YouTube algorithm works. If this video actually gave you clarity, do like the video. That single action makes YouTube algorithm to reach to more candidates who are currently stuck in the same confusion you had. And if you want these kinds of straight no confusion update, make sure you are subscribed, because missing one step can actually create problems later. And if you still have any doubts at any point, drop them in the comments. I will check and respond there, so you don't stay stuck anywhere in the process. See you in the next video. Good luck.